We're going to explore ancient African medicine, sacred memory. We say this because we know knowledge is not lived merely in the belief systems. Knowledge has to be lived beyond decoration. Knowledge has to be practiced. If it's not practice, it's just performance. If it's not transmitted wisdom, then it dies. So I'm asking you, prepare not only to learn. The goal is beyond learning and taking notes, which we do require. The goal is to become. To become people whose thoughts, whose words, whose actions and relationships and responsibilities are going to move us in the same unified direction. To become people that don't merely talk conscious or speak religion, but are balanced, conscientiously conscious between religion and our consciousness. We're not asking that you and I become people who are just going to seek to inherit wisdom, but we want you to become transmitters of that wisdom. Not only people that are survivors of the history, but builders of a future. I pray the Most High Heavenly One and the great Naturu Elohim, the African guardian angelic host, by whatever name you choose to call upon them, that they'll move us today from remembrance towards responsibility. They'll move us today from awareness to action. They'll move us today from just making decisions to actually implementing alignment in our lives. I ask that each of us gathered here today become more committed to become living transmitters of universal orders and the balancement of deeds called in the Bible, Proverbs, wisdom called in the Quran, hikmah. Because our children, our communities, and generations that are yet to be born, they're depending on us. Let's examine the remedies for today. With that being said, let me introduce brilliant minds from all across the world. Elevated thinkers. Our three panelists at this moment, this is the first session. The theme is African medicine, memory, and the heart. Let me first introduce from Nassau, Bahamas, a student teacher, a brilliant mind, a wonderful sister, a thinker, working in law now for perhaps over 20 years. Thus, that ability to analyze what sets before her day to day is what she is going to use to help us gain an analytical approach towards this subject. I introduce to you Sister Shandell Williams, known affectionately as Sister Hetep Hernepti. Then we travel across the Atlantic, head north towards the cold and tundra, to our lovely Kahun Tefnut, known as Sister Karen Hilton, a mother, a grandmother, a teacher, an organizer, whose wisdom in the alchemist's room, studying herbology and the best way and treatments for medicinal healing for our people, is going to be bringing that to this table. And then we're heading back to Bahamas again, to a noble man, a father, educator, radio presenter, author, Dr. Cleveland Ennius III, known as Kahun Anku Sarah. Let's welcome them into this discussion.
Namaste.
Namaste.
All right, let's get right to it. Yeah, they're bringing them up. Let's see. Social media, I don't see those faces. I see Sister Shan. I see Kahun Uncle Sarah. People online, open those microphones. Let's hear. Make sure you're here. Because y'all being quiet. You know, this is not quiet. There you go. There we go. Come on, Kahun Tefnut. There we go. There we go. Hot seat. This is my favorite crew right here. This is the hot seat crew. All right, let's get right to it. I'm going to start with you, Sister Shan. When we're talking African medicine, memory, and the heart, what did the ancient African healers understand about wellness that modern systems have overlooked, something that we as a people today can begin to look at that's going to help us. So again, for everyone listening at home, what did ancient African healers understand about wellness that modern systems often overlook?
Namaste. Good morning. What they overlooked and what the ancient African healers understood was that harmony is health. They never separated the mind from the body, the spirit from physiology, or separated the community from the healing. Mind, body, and spirit were always one, and that is how they dealt with it. The great I am Hotep, the greatest healer that we have had. In his papyrus, they call it the Eber papyrus. He combined the remedies. They spoke of healing combined with spiritual care, emotional imbalance, along with rituals, their language, on into their physical healing. They understood that healing is a science rooted in the spirit. So if you did not heal the mind, the emotions, the spirit, if you just heal the body by itself, that was just a temporary remedy. Today they call it holistic healing. Proverbs 17:22 speaks to our inner condition affecting bodily strength.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Oh, go.
How what is internalized within us, we will see it on the outside.
Mm-hmm. Whew. Okay. All right. That's how we're starting today. I see you. I see you. Okay, we're going to move to Kahun Uncle Sora. Mm-hmm. How does the heart remember what history has attempted to erase? And I'm saying it again because we're looking at African medicine in this first session. We're looking at memory, we're looking at the heart. So if we're going to look at African medicine, memory, and the heart, I would like you to help us understand. I'd like you to help us understand, how does the heart remember what history and historians, the Hellenists, what they have attempted to erase?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here again. We as a people have lived through this nightmare or this trauma that we're talking about in a state of confusion. And when we talk about this reality of the heart remembering, the heart is the seat of thought, memory, courage, and moral orientation. The heart is the seat of thought, memory, courage, and moral orientation. So this reality of the heart as an organ of memory and thought, in ancient Tamaray and Kemet, as some would say, the understanding that the heart, not the brain, because we've always been taught in this society that the brain is the only seat of knowledge. But no, you have the heart. And this was considered the seat of thought, memory, moral orientation. The heart records what the mind may suppress. So we live in a society that teaches us that for you to talk about Africa, or for you to talk about your ancestors, or for you to talk about what they call the past, they call it nostalgia. They saw you just being nostalgic. But in truth, you are healing by remembering. And the heart records what the mind may have suppressed or what they have taught you to forget, and what history may deny. History doesn't deny us our greatness. History teaches us that we were savages. History teaches us that we were a people who were waiting for the Greeks and the Romans and whomever to come and save us. Even when the written records are destroyed or falsified, the heart remembers through embodied knowing. So the body's memory of what happened. So in history, it will teach us that things that we have experienced are not authentic or not of any real educational value unless academia has deemed it worthy. But we have been experiencing this reality from us to our parents and our grandparents and all the way back for many millennia. So what we're learning in Revamp is that there's something called sacred memory. All right. And so we have to, in this time of gathering and this session, we have to recover this ancestral wisdom as we talk about the things that we need to now work towards. We must recover ancestral wisdom. And this wisdom is not nostalgia. When history attempts to erase a people, the heart preserves it through ritual, through song, through story, through embodied practice. So we say in the Holy Coptic Church, draw near, because there are rituals. Every Sunday we have our Sunday service, but it's an actual ritual. We have actual songs or chants, or what we call Ghanun, that helps us to remember. These are not optional cultural activities. These are obligatory. These are things that are necessary for us to do in order to resist forgetting, in order to resist what this society would love for us to do, which is to never remember. So we have this sacred memory, right? This history that is really a weapon. It is something that has been created by the oppressors. His story. No, we're not
Okay,
just
whoa,
doing.
whoa! I
Yeah,
gotta stop you. I gotta
go
stop
ahead.
you. I gotta stop you.
Go
I
ahead.
had to channel Kahun Muntu for a quick minute. I had to
Mhm.
channel him
Go
because
ahead.
you're getting there. But let's bring it down. Let's slow it down a little bit.
No
It's like
problem.
it's a first date, first session, first date. So we go. Let's prepare everyone again. Let's get everybody's mind. I want everybody to lock back in because Kahun Uncle just took us on a journey. He just took us on a journey because the question dealing with the heart, the question was focusing on understanding what this heart does. How does the heart remember what history attempts to erase? He gave us words about the heart keeping what books tried to hide. He spoke to us about it holds stories and songs. He told us about how we hear, we wear, we understand our history. This is important. I want everybody to grab that because we're talking mental repair. We're talking the repair of a people whose minds have been damaged by misinformation. Is
Yes.
everybody at home? Are y'all listening?
Yes,
This is
sir.
a people
Yes,
Yes,
whose
sir.
Prophet.
minds
Yes.
have been poisoned by
Yes, sir.
misinformation. We have to be brought to remember and how it remembers. So I just want everybody locked in. Now, Karen Hilton, associate pastor known as Kahun Tefnut, I'd like to bring you into this conversation. And what I'd like us to, since we're talking about the heart and it's remembering, how do our communities suffer from cultural amnesia? How is it that we're suffering? You know, this not knowing our culture. What role does cultural amnesia play in this? Can we suffer because of cultural amnesia? I mean, as long as I know my name, and where I'm from, and I know where to go to work, I have my education, but how do we suffer from cultural amnesia? Kahun Tefnut.
Namaste. Namaste, Rev. Namaste, everyone here. Thank you again for having me on this platform. So, talking about cultural amnesia, we're talking about how the community responds to each other culturally, what the things that we used to do, the things that we currently do. So some of the ways that we suffer from that amnesia is we don't remember. Amnesia is we don't remember the things that we used to do. Amnesia is, doing something that has been replaced because somebody else's culture, somebody else's way of life, somebody else's food and so forth and so forth. So as a community, the culture is missing. As a community, where we used to support each other, where we would, exist as a community, where we would hold each other accountable. That was heavily maintained, that within the community we used to respond and we used to share problems. They have a saying over this side of the world, a problem aired is a problem shared. Where did they get that from? So they wouldn't know, problem aired, a problem shared if it hit them in the face. But it's something that we used to do within the community. If you had a problem, if you had, we spoke recently about, with relationships, that if you meet somebody, you bring them to the community. That culture is now missing. So we are now suffering from, a cultural, what's the word? Sorry, amnesia. You only have to look at, was it Hosea 4:6? My people suffer through a lack of knowledge. A lack of knowledge of what? A lack of knowledge of themselves, a lack of knowledge of their history, a lack of knowledge of their culture, their food, their identity. So yes, very much so, that is real. That's what's happening today. And the way that is propelled and even in different areas around the world, how you can see it happening is they enter into areas. Now we're in, a place called Tottenham in Seven Sisters in London, and it was predominantly a Black area. And I'm sure that's the same for places around, around the world, Bahamas, America, wherever you are, you have predominantly Black areas. Now, the Black areas are that's around now are predominantly very, very poor. And what they've done is they've gone into those areas where culture heavily existed, coming from places, different areas of the Caribbean and Africa, where they took that culture with them and used it every day and was able to work, commune with each other, speak with each other, no matter what. And they had very similar identities when it came to culture, food, etc. And what they done, these societies done, your 11+1 clan sons, your societies, your government, what they did was they went into those areas, and you can see it happening all around, and gentrified. Basically, they said, okay, we're going to break up this area. You're no longer going to have communities of 50, 100, 150 families in one area. We're going to break them right up. And when they broke it up, and they put, people from different nationalities, people, Europeans, Westerners, into those areas, that culture dissipated. We didn't take it with us. And then we held on to this ideology that, oh, yes, we don't want too much Black people around us. We want to mix with others who are better, or, we want more money. These peasants, this is this very stupid ideology of taking on somebody else's mind. And therefore, we let go of that culture. So now and then they didn't teach that to their children, who are now probably my generation, who's like, okay, what did we used to do? So it's not being passed on. So you're finding that these cultures and these communities are now suffering from that amnesia. Where is our culture? We're trying to get it back, but we've forgotten. So it's down to those who remember. And we never asked questions of the elders because we felt that they were too old. They didn't know anything. They was like, oh, what are they talking about? We don't want to hear that. We want to know the latest fashion. We want to know what the European is doing, what the Canaanites doing. We want to know what everybody else is doing except what we're doing. Eventually, we suffered from amnesia. And that's what we're looking at today. And that's why we're here today. The Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah is here today doing, seminars like this, like Revamp, to restore those energies, those vibrations, do you know what I mean? And mental awareness, to restore this and get away with, do away with the amnesia and replace it with remembrance.
Thank you so much, Calhoun Tefnut. Let's go back. I want to go back to Sister Chandel Williams. Sister Williams, Hita Pranepti, Minavizir. How does it, because Colin Tufton mentioned how they started separating these communities and moving people from different areas because they didn't want them to kind of form communities, because if too many melanated people live in one area, then that can become a community, and that's how power gets established. So when they're doing housing or the different councils, if I'm understanding her correctly, they've done the same in America, right? They begin to move as they gentrify neighborhoods, they begin to move people in and then move you out, what are called affordable housing. In fact, one of the people who's just been put in charge of the affordable housing in America, he's an heir. He's about 28 years old. He's a billionaire heir. and he is going to decimate it, right? His family's he's the heir to the building moguls of America. So I want you to take what she's talking about. Since we're talking about these neighborhoods, how does environment shape that emotional health? If they're going after neighborhoods and we're trying to form in Myrna, we're trying to form neighborhoods in our respective communities around the world, how does the environment shape our emotional health?
Namaste. Environment is paramount. When you speak of how they redlined and the redlining districts, they split up Black communities. What they did was they isolated us. And that isolation, it destroys us mentally, emotionally. We speak of, sorry. Okay, we have this thought process. I am because you are. Our environment, when we were together, we were in a community. We knew who everybody was. We had our culture. We had our own food. We had our own rituals. When they split us, they caused isolation, caused anxiety, fear, depression. The family was depleted. How do we get that back? Ephesians 6:12 says, put on the whole armor of God. Our armor, like Dr. Marimba Annie says, is our immune system. Our culture is our immune system. Dr. Naeem Akbar says, we are not mentally ill. We are responding to a mentally ill environment. We are in toxic environments that causes stress, confusion. We now eat their foods. We listen to their music. Our music is gone, or they have now invaded our music. You hear the trap music, it's poisonous. We're on the jobs, stress every day. Chronic stress. In 2 Timothy 1:7 says, fear, it lists fear as being cowardice, rooted in instability. It destabilizes our mental. It disrupts clarity, and it also disrupts our action. We're in a state of flight of freeze or flight. We don't even have time to just sit back, relax, and breathe. And also, and it causes a condition of imbalance. It also separates us, and we also self-identity. Once we are from our culture, our identity is lost. We pick up everybody else's culture. Then it comes to self-hate. I don't like my hair. I don't like my clothes. The food is off. I need to look like them. I need to straighten my hair. I need to lighten my skin. In Nigeria and a lot of the African countries, if you don't speak, I thought this was really weird, but I saw it and I asked somebody and they said, yes, if you don't speak English and you speak your native language around some people, they think you're illiterate.
Wow.
In Uganda, you have a gentleman who is running, who wants to be president. His thing is, he is going to outlaw Swahili. He wants to bring in French and English as their main languages. Once they separated us from community, they separated us from everything, knowledge of self.
Wow.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. I don't know if everybody is understanding what's happening, but it's Sister Chandel Williams, just Mrs. Williams, just took us through. Let's understand what's taking place. Kahuna Uncle Sarah, help us understand sacred memory. Because what she's saying, when someone is thinking is running for president, who is a presidential candidate of a nation of people, and they're thinking of removing language, outlawing the very language structure, and bringing in French and English, the Europeanized way of thinking, how important is it that such minds we've got to be aware of amongst us to make sure that sacred memory, how important is our sacred memory and language, if you want to include it in there, but how important is sacred memory, and why is maintaining that sacred memory so essential to this healing, especially as it pertains to African medicine, memory, and the heart?
Yeah, so that's a very good question, especially in light of what Sister Heat and FT just shared with us. That's pretty wild. Sacred memory, when we learn about this sacred memory through Revamp, sacred memory is the recovery of ancestral wisdom, right? It's restoration that becomes medicine, right? So we have trivialized what memory can do. We have trivialized what just this word remember, to be a member again, to be a member of a system that ultimately helps the disease, the dis-ease that we're suffering mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, to ultimately be balanced out because we begin to remember. So sacred memory is this reality of recovering this ancestral wisdom. Now, one of the key components of this memory again is the heart. This heart, there's the seat of thought, memory, courage, moral orientation. It puts all of the systems of the body at one. Every single system in the body needs the heart. The heart is pumping blood to everywhere in the body. So when the European societies, they will separate psychiatry from cardiology. They will separate all of the, right? They will separate these, they call them disciplines, right? But in truth, if we study the heart is telling us that no, all of these systems are really one. And this reality of all of the systems being one, and the fact that the heart is remembering what the body tries to erase, it means that when we are at a point where sacred memory can heal the heart, can heal the this organ that is ultimately feeding every aspect or every portion of our body, it means that we begin to heal all aspects of ourselves. So sacred memory is something that when we look in scripture, if we go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 4, verse 23, it says, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. This reality of keeping the heart with all diligence, it means that you keeping this heart, as Revamp teaches us, that because the heart remembers what history tries to erase, it must be guarded, right? The enemy, this whether it's a spiritual enemy, a systemic enemy, it attacks the heart to sever memory. So they don't want us to have sacred memory. When you start talking, I don't want to hear that black stuff. That's what people who are not in their right minds, people who are hurting, people who don't understand that they're hurting, people who don't understand that their perception has been distorted. They don't understand this because their heart is ultimately disconnected from sacred memory. And so this keeping the
What was
heart
that for?
is an act of
Huh?
resistance against
They
erasure.
won't come.
Then it talks about out of it are the issues of life. And this means that everything comes forth, the thoughts, the words, the actions, and the memory. And if the heart is the source of life, then protecting the heart and the memory is protecting life itself. So sacred memory, the heart, all of these things, Revamp is guiding us to become more aware of, to become more conscious of it, so that we can tie back into that sacred memory and bring true.
You're muted, Kahuna Uncle. You just went mute, my brother.
Okay. True healing is the absence of disease and the presence of balance. And that is based on this sacred memory.
Okay, Calhoun, Uncle, thank you so much. Calhoun Tefnut, uh, Associate Pastor Karen Hilton, and also Minavizir Hita Pranepti. I'm going to ask the two of you a question. I'll ask Hita Pranepti, I'd ask you to go first. It's the same question, but how can food either support or sabotage this sacred balance as it pertains to the African medicine, memory, and heart, this segment itself, African medicine, memory, and the heart? What role does food play in either sabotaging or supporting a sacred balance of our lives and our repair as an overall for this weekend, with what we're discussing? Hita Pranepti, please.
Yes, sir. Food in our culture, that's memory. That is when you're cooking a dish, you use the ingredients that your mother taught you. You go through, you season the way she taught you to season. You stir that pot, you turn down the stove to a certain level. And as you fix it, you bring it to the table, you eat it. It stirs up a memory, a comfort. You use the ingredients that are for your body. It not only ties you into that memory, into your family, but it is also, shall we say, food for the soul. Farming, food. Parents back in the day, everybody had a backyard farm. I always remember that. We would go, you would pick the food that you grew. You knew for sure this had no pesticides. It wasn't genetically modified. You had natural food that healed you. Nowadays, you have food, you don't know where it's from. Most of what is in the store is not food. And what they say, you are what you eat. The stress of the day, most people stress eating. We put on weight. From that, our hormones out of balance. From that, depression. From that, anxiety. From that, self-hate. You now put on weight. You don't feel right. You don't look right. And then you isolate yourself, which they want. But what we teach, Niger Delta, Nile River Valley, is community. We used to have big Sunday dinners. Family would come over every Sunday. Now, if you get that once or twice per year, the cousins knew each other. You can bring up problems there. You can ask for help. You had support. Food was not just something that nourished you from the inside. It was emotional. It was spiritual. And it tied you into your family line. And we have come away from that. And now it is fast food all day long. I think that's me.
Okay. No, that's not you.
Okay. It's fast food. It is whatever you can pick up. The child goes in the room, boom. The parents go the next way, or they sit down and they're watching TV as they eat. Poison going in, poison coming out. The children react because of the preservatives in the foods. The mother doesn't cook. There is no continuity.
But you coming for us.
Your mom brought you into the kitchen with her.
You coming for us. You coming for us. Oh, you about to make me sign out. I'm like, wait, I ate in front of the TV yesterday.
I know. Like
because the game was on. But you're right.
Turn the game off. You connected. Most parents nowadays, they don't know what their children are doing. Over the dinner table, you discussed. The child has a problem, you knew about it. You knew your child. The minute you asked what happened in school, you start a little tense. Okay, what gone down? Okay, this happened, mom. Nowadays, mom one way, father one way, children the next.
Mm.
There's no connection.
Calhoun Tefner, jump on in here. The water's fine. All right, we want to your microphone. I don't know if it's on or not because we didn't hear you just now when you responded. But let's bring you right in. The same question: how can
Okay.
food? Because I know you work in the alchemist room. One of the things that you do, one of your many hats that you wear, you work in the
Yeah.
alchemist room, and I've seen
Mhm.
you firsthand. People come in to the Tree of Eternal Life there in the United Kingdom, at 124A West Green Road. By the way, for those wondering, and they ask different questions, all types of questions. I know Uncle Desi deals with it most days as well. And they come in and they start asking all these questions and what's this? And I got this and what, how does food, medicine, food, this whole medicine, this whole nature, the world's first classroom, how can food support or sabotage sacred balance, that sacred balance? How does it either support it or sabotage it?
Okay, right. So, um, my sister has said a lot about that, about food. And yes, let me start with the Sunday dinners, because Sunday dinners for us was a big thing. Like my grandmother used to cook, or she used to get the uncles and aunties to cook, and everybody better show up on a Sunday because you had your cousins around the table. This was our little community because the family was big. Back then, everyone had like 9, 10, 11 children. Well, Basesh, you know what I mean. So, we used to be around the table, and that was the family, and it's like, now, what is it? We have maybe 2 around the table, maybe 3. Everybody's on the phone, a mobile phone. So your food was supposed to be your medicine. Your food was supposed to be the thing that nourished you. We didn't eat food because, not only because it looked good, we ate because we knew what was good for us. Working in the alchemist in the Tree of Eternal Life, yes, I see people coming in, and 90% of the ailments, the diseases, what they have is because of food. And when you tell them, stop eating the mac and cheese, stop eating the bread, stop eating the so much meat every single day, they tell you no, they can't do without it. Your food was supposed to stabilize you, it was supposed to energize you, it was supposed to balance you. Because as my sister just said, you are what you eat. So what you put in, if you're going to put in junk, what's your mind going to be? You don't go, any farmer doesn't go and take, just any poop and put it in the soil. It's normally fertilizer that goes into the soil. But what we're doing, or what most people are doing now, is they're taking the dung, the proper, sugar honey iced tea, and they're putting it inside them because it's coated with coloring and additives and sugars
Wow.
and flavors and perfumes. And we're thinking that this looks and smells good. But if you was to, and we told them, break it down, look at, when you pick up that thing, and that's why some people don't like go shopping with me, because I check ingredients. When I go shopping, I checking ingredients. And he's like, why are you so long? Because I need to know what I'm picking up. I try not to shop in the supermarkets so much now. Now we're actually moving to, Whole Foods. Now we're moving to, and we're getting back to proper cooking where,
What do you mean moving to
it's
Whole
the
Foods? Wait
fast.
a minute. Now you ain't gonna throw that in there and have me. I'm over here in front of the TV and you talking about Whole Foods. What do you mean? You're not no, seriously, what do you mean we're moving to Whole Foods? What does that mean we're moving to Whole Foods?
Okay, so whole food is also wholesome foods. We're going to farm, because nowadays you can go to farms, you can go to farmers market. We're moving to those areas. We're moving to where, farmers are bringing their produce, and they're bringing fruits. They're real
All
fruits,
right,
not the
all right.
supermarket fruits.
Here you go.
Right. So we're talking about real food that farmers are bringing, and you go in, and it's full. And I've been to ones in America, farmers market, where it's really, really big. So they have them,
USA,
and I'm sure you have them.
USA. No, I'm just looking.
I'll show
Go
you in
ahead,
the
my
Caribbean
sister.
as well. Caribbean, you have it. You know why you have it? Because it's in the garden. In Jamaica, I walk past, and I know that the rest of the Caribbean islands have it. I walk past and I'm seeing mango trees, mango apple trees. I'm seeing, we went to Liberia. Woo, that's a cashew. I didn't even know. I didn't even know cashews. I've seen it.
Liberia. There we go.
Here we
Come
go.
on, we plug in Jamaica. Go ahead, my sister. Trinidad.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, people come into the shop, the Tree of Total Life, and they say, oh, moringa, oh, we grow that in our garden so much, we just walk past it. I'm like, why are you walking past it? It's food, it's health, it's gonna, and so we have to now, because at the moment we've forgotten how to eat. We're now eating foods that can alter DNA. Imagine eating foods that can alter DNA or stop DNA messages being sent. It's just crazy. To know that, now they want to, over here, I don't know if it's the same everywhere else in the world. Now they want to give a diagnosis to every single person. You're not thinking right, so you must be autistic. You don't do maths properly, so you must be ADHD. You're not being able to read English. No, it's because you're in a system, an educated system that's taking you away. So when you're eating these wrong foods, you're not eating for your blood type, you're not eating for your culture, you're not eating in the environment that we're used to eating. You're now eating some westernized food that is nothing but death, because the only thing it produces is death. So when you're eating death foods, your mind cannot think. Your body, your soul, the whole alignment is off. So these foods that we're currently eating, we have to get back to the proper foods, our culture foods, foods that's good for us, not everybody else's, because we've been told that you can eat whatever you want, it's okay. No, it's not okay. It's really not. They're making cornflakes and I'm sure they're putting pieces of cardboard in there. They're throwing plastics in there. Now they're, the hype or the in thing about talk is, what's it called? Plastics, nanoplastics. I think they call it nanoplastics. Micro, thank you. Microplastics. We didn't have that in Africa and the Caribbean. What's microplastics? We didn't have that. We ate, and as soon as you eat, maybe an hour after, you go toilet. You eat here, 1 day, 2 day gone, 3 days. People telling me I haven't been toilet all week.
Damn.
What kind of messed up system is that? So this is what this is what food is doing to you. This is what food, and you can't think straight. You can't think straight. You fill up with doo-doo. Let me say a nice word. You fill up with doo-doo because literally you are, because it doesn't come out. The toxins are going in and it's creating stress, chronic diseases. It's creating so much, the body cannot process properly. You have your whole nervous system is off. The nervous system is a system which controls it. It's the control center. The nervous system cannot work properly because what you're putting in is completely wrong and off. It's telling you this is red flags are going off all the time, and we're ignoring these red flags and still putting the junk food in, which is altering DNA, which is altering our alignment, which is altering our hormones, which is altering our skin. We're having skin problems, eye problems, can't see.
Woo! I'm signing out. Y'all, good luck with this. Making me not like myself. Okay, all right. Thank
and
Colin Tech, I
it goes
appreciate it.
on.
But I want to bring Colin Uncle in right there where she took us right inside the door. We see the boogeyman. He's hanging out inside the door, right? Why is diet, Colin Uncle? Why is diet a psychological issue as much as a physical one? I'm saying that because everything Colin Tefner just said, Associate Pastor Karen Hilton. We've all heard aspects of these, right? Even the doodoo, right? We've all we've all heard aspects of this in our lives in different ways. You are what you eat. Don't eat this, eat better. And we all start off that way. We all say, yes, I'm going to eat better. This is New Year's resolution. This is a fasting resolution. I'm going to eat better. I'm going to get in better shape. I'm going to change. I'm going to walk every day. I'm going to drink water. I'm drinking 16 gallons of water, honey water a day. I'm doing, and I'm going to get, and then we walk in the supermarket and God darn it, that blasted Haagen-Dazs, that
Haagen-Dazs.
blasted Breyers, that blasted chips and cookies and all they just chips and dips. That's right. They just, the the fake cheese that you put on the nachos with the jalapenos and you heat it up, or you want, you know what I'm saying? Why is it? How is it diet is such a psychological issue as much as a physical one, as it pertains to African medicine, memory, the heart, and this weekend's overall theme, the overall theme of this weekend, racial trauma to sacred value. How is racism involved in this psychological issue that we have when we know don't eat that? I make jokes about it, but I watch people. What is
Mm.
the psychological issue? And how is diet as much a psychological issue as it is a physical one?
Yeah. So within the Nile Valley culture on into I mean, the Niger Valley culture into the Nile Valley civilization,
Mhm.
what we learn is that what enters our bodies affects our minds. I know it's almost cliche now. You are what you eat, but this is literally what we taught. This is literally what we understood because this connection of the mind and body is real. Is undeniable, right? The food you eat does not only go to your stomach, right? It goes to your brain, it goes to your nervous system, it goes to your hormones, it goes to your emotions. So poor nutrition produces not only physical illness, but it also produces anxiety. Poor food also produces depression.
How? How? How?
Well,
How? Because
the but
I'm playing the advocate. I ain't gonna say devil's
sure,
advocate because I don't
sure,
like him
sure.
like that. But I'm gonna play the advocate.
Remember,
How?
when we talk about health, we're talking about balance. So anxiety, which can be classified as a disease of the nervous system, what it what happens is if you're not eating proper foods, there are certain nutrients that the nervous system needs in order to function, in order to balance itself the way it needs to balance. The nervous system, which comprises of the brain, the spinal cord, and then ultimately the nerves, and then also the neurotransmitters. Well, those neurotransmitters and those hormones, they are a type of protein. So if you're not getting the proper protein, if you're not getting the proper nutrients, what begins to happen is your body is like the dashboard on your car. If you need oil, that light is going to come on, or it should anyway, right? And if you are not putting, if you don't put the oil in the car, the engine is going to seize. It's going to run hot. If you don't put the proper foods into your body so that the nervous system can get what it needs, so that the brain and then the spinal cord and the hormones and the emotions that ultimately come from it can get what they need, then you become irritable. So they got these commercials now, the junk food commercials, and they tell you when you're not acting as yourself, just grab a Snickers,
Damn
right?
right.
Right? But but what and so there's a truth to what they're saying. I mean, if you minus the Snickers part and you put whole food as
Yeah,
Colin Templeton just
put
talked about,
the peanuts. Put the peanuts. The
yeah,
body
yeah,
wants the peanuts. It wants the
yes,
almonds.
right.
It don't want the chocolate. It don't want the
No,
caramel and the nougats and the
no,
sugar. It wants the
no.
almonds and the cashews and that's what it really wants.
Right, right.
Is that
So
what you? Okay, okay.
so basically, if we go to some scientific research, right, the gut is often called a second brain. This is what you've taught us, Basesh, and we're learning it through Revamp again. The gut is called a second brain because it produces serotonin, dopamine, and other neurotransmitters that regulate mood
Mm.
and emotional stability. So a poor diet produces imbalances that manifest the psychological symptoms of depression, anxiety, rage, apathy, etc., etc. Right? So diet influences not only your everyday mood, but it can actually influence what they call epigenetic expression across generations. So what you choose to eat or what you choose not to eat is going to actually influence your children and ultimately your grandchildren. Because what happens is that the epigenetics research is showing that diet can cause epigenetic changes. We talked about changes in the DNA and the RNA, but modifications to gene expression can be passed to children and grandchildren. You understand? Epigenetics changes can be influenced by external factors such as diet. This is what science is telling us.
Okay, okay, okay. Ooh.
So
Ooh.
it's definitely a link between the mind and the body. The food is,
Mind and the
yeah.
body. Mind and the body. Okay, well, we're going to wrap up this first session, but before we go, I'm going to ask uh, Dr. Hilton, Associate Pastor Hilton, I'm going to ask you quickly, just, and then this is for each of you, for Kahun Tefnut, African medicine, herbs, something we could each do herbally, something we could introduce herbally to our diet. I want you to think about it.
Okay.
That can help fix some of these problems to restore us. Sister Shan, something we could each do that can help repair the heart. Kahun Anku, something we could each do. One thing that we could each do. We got 30 seconds each. You're going to talk about one thing we can each do towards repairing our memory. Kahun Tefnut, African medicine herbs. Sister Shan, the heart. Kahun Anku, memory. Go ahead.
Am I going first?
Yes.
Let me think. The memory, what comes to mind for me, let me just
No, my
first.
sister, you are African medicine. You are herbology. Something we could do with herbs. Boom, that can click us in. One thing we could do. Alchemist room. Go, plug it.
Okay, all right. So one thing I've got definitely is 2 herbs. I know you said 1, I've got 2 because they're both good. Right, so Gotu Kola, Gotukola, Gotu Kola and Ginkgo. Okay, 2 brain herbs, right? Apart from your food, which should be your medicine in your cupboard anyway, put those 2 in. All right. So when it comes to, let's not forget the mushrooms, right? Let me talk about those. So every day, you can drink these morning and evening, or every day, once a day, you can drink them. You can drink Gotu Kola by itself. You can drink Ginkgo biloba by itself, and it will improve your memory. It will do away with brain fog. It will help you focus, especially if you're taking tests, exams, things like that. It will help you concentration. It's going to work with the brains. It's going to actually get the dendrites to pass correct messages and do away with all the rest of the rubbish. And if you drink it every day, I promise you, you will have an alignment with your brain and you will actually feel cognitive actually getting in place and balancement in place every single day. That's what you can do. Put it in your cupboard. Don't leave it out. Yep.
Thank you so much. All right, Sister Hita Pranepti, come on in. What we talking?
Yes, for me, and it will always be this. You do an ancestral chart, family tree. Most of us don't know who we are or where we come from.
Mm.
Family tree. I am back now to great-great-grandparents. I'm speaking with my elders on, we only have about 3 from either side left, on either side, only 3 left of the aunts and uncles. Sorry, no uncles, just aunts. So, like they say, when an elder dies, a library burns.
Mm.
So, what I suggest everyone do, a family tree, find every elder that you can, ask questions, ask everything, get all of your family knowledge.
This would include elders who know the elders. It may not even be your
Yes,
personal family. It could be someone who was
even
intimate
if
with
it's
great
a
grandma. That's right.
cousin
That's right.
7 times removed or somebody that lived in the neighborhood and knew your family, get the information. Knowledge is power. And like we say, know thyself, get the information so you know who you are.
Amen. Amen. Kahun Uncle Sarah, take us out.
Well, as we, end this first session for Revamp, raising energy, vibration, and mental potency, what I want to leave with everybody is the reality that we need to drink more water. That sounds like a simple, almost mindless thing in terms of course, I'm going to drink water. But if we're going to heal the memory, if we're going to heal the heart, well, the thing that ultimately moves between the heart and the brain is blood. And blood is mostly water. Blood is plasma. Plasma is mostly water. The water that we drink allows for any of the herbs, any of the food, any of those things that we want to properly integrate into this system to be properly metabolized, to be properly dissolved into the system. And so the drinking of water is what I would leave on the table for us to, I pray, pick up and begin to be more mindful of. And I'm saying it for myself as well, because sometimes we just get so caught up in life and you have to ask yourself, how much water did I drink today? And so I'll leave you with that. And I thank you again for having me and all of us. And I send them
Awesome. Awesome. I'd like to thank Sister Shandell Williams, Kahun Tefnut, and Kahun Uncle Sarah. This has been Revamp 2026, Session 1, the 6th day of June, 2026. African Medicine, Memory, and the Heart. We're going to take a slight break. We'll be right back.
Fatafidu kono adolko bekiling Kanada maya kanta sembole mu esemoti kana kelo ke kano ye ubuntu bomboya simone ubuntu bomboya Kilotu ning dunia sina hadamaya tinya nole sate balu mennu lotanu mo kutungkana ya ningyele kodokan bring fundinge yinkarandino rola katambi demaroti killing, kuman killing, moi killing, sinio dino modolale. Haling la moi, ilanyania, ni mame be kono be wolema. If I'm